All right. Good morning, folks. Hello and welcome out there. You are listening to the Charge Life podcast. I am Joseph Barletta, and this is where we discuss EVs and all things EV charging. So glad you could pull over and park with us today. Let's get plugged in. Hey, look, today's episode is all about Tesla layoffs, the entire Tesla supercharging team. What we know so far with working with those guys over the last 12 years, we're going to bring that to you. Look, I don't know. I don't even have an agenda for this one. I just think you're going to love it. Hey, look, before we begin today's episode, it's brought to you by Smart Charge America. Since 2007, Smart Charge America has installed tens of thousands of EV charging stations nationwide, and they can do the same for you today. Whether in the home, commercial, or service, let their team of expert installation specialists guide you to the best solution for your EV needs. After all, if you can't charge, you can't drive. Visit smartchargeamerica.com today to get started. Okay, Tesla lays off entire supercharger team. What we know. Okay, here's the deal. We walked in today, and by the way, if you guys have questions, just throw a question in front of your question, so I know on the actual chat who's all in there. But for the most part, we walked in today after dealing our dealings with the Tesla Supercharger team with regards to the Tesla Destination Charge program. So over the past, I'd say about a year or two, Tesla has invested heavily in their ability to actually put in these destination chargers. So in addition to the supercharging team that basically was putting in superchargers left and right, left and right, left and right, they decided, hey, let's put in these destination chargers kind of around. We have the data, we know where our cars are, so let's put them in around, and then what will happen is we'll see, we'll have this destination charge program, like these sites all over the city, which they already had a couple sprinkled in there, but Tesla was really making a stronghold and a point to actually get in there and try to get as many of those in the ground as possible to offset or to complement the supercharging strains that they were experiencing in certain, demographics, certain neighborhoods, in certain regions across cities. And so basically what's happened is Tesla has done this like 3 times over, okay? Back in between like 2012, 2015, we started the destination charge with Tesla and their charging team. Basically, that was us debuting and getting a lot of these, I would say level I'd say Gen 1 wall connectors. We were giving that to hotels, and Tesla was paying us for some of the installs. They would earmark a certain amount per charger that we would install. And then that kind of ceased around 2015. They picked it up back in 2017. And then that basically faded with the Gen 2s pretty quick as Tesla was ramping up their Model 3 ramp. And so that was the second phase out of this particular program. The third program actually came between about 2021 and 2023 when Tesla started the destination charge program again. And so basically, what happened on the third one was Tesla was still, you know, uh, gifting the chargers to companies and paying a portion of that install, if not all of the install, to Smart Charge America for us to go ahead and do the install. That's great, and that was our way of just really kind of getting, and I believe it was us and a few other electrical contractors across the nation that were really in tight with that supercharging team, or in this case, the charging team at Tesla. So around the beginning of 2023, Tesla decides, hey, you know what? We're gifting all these charging stations away to everyone, and we're paying a certain amount towards these installs. And I think now that we have these new Gen 3 wall connectors, and we have the ability now with our software on the back end, and I'll get back to the software play with our software and our network on the back end to be able to monetize these stations. Let's start investing and let's do it. Let's install these bad boys ourselves. We're already doing the supercharger network this way. Why not just do the destination chargers network there? That's of course the level 2 charging stations, and then that's fine. We could do the level 2 chargers, and we'll do the superchargers, and we'll complement one another. They know where their cars are going. They have all the data there. They understand the heat maps, and so they would sprinkle those destination chargers across the affiliated group of large, Gables and Marriott and the Hilton, so forth and so on. And so there was uh, there was the stretch order that what they did was they took the the pecking order, the standard operating procedures. That's the layer that you would go ahead and finish off with these supercharger sites. So the supercharger sites are very extensive. They are extremely complex, very extensive. You really have to know what you're doing if you're going to be going into these sites. They are layered with about, let's say a 200 item checklist on everything that you should be covered, and you're still getting every now and then you'll get customization within that 200 site checklist. These things usually take about 6 to 9 months to get into the ground. So what they did was they took that layer of sophistication and procedural base, and they layered it on top of this level two charging, destination charging that we were participating with them in the debut of that. Now, what happens is if you look at the time, effort, energy, and resources that it takes for you to put charging stations in the ground, well, okay, if I'm putting in a massive 16 stall supercharger in the ground and it takes me, let's say 6 to 9 months to be able to do that, but it cost me somewhere around I don't know, $30,000 per port. Okay, that's fine. That's generally right around maybe where Tesla was budgeting at. But then you look at the destination charge play. They looked at the same exact procedurals and they overlayered that with destination chargers, which are level two chargers. So it's a lot lower charge amounts. Definitely nowhere near the power level that you would have for a supercharger site. And those sites were also taking 6 to 9 months to come online. Now, look, Smart Charge America, this is all that we do. We do this day in and day out. We were birthed from the ground up to do this alongside Tesla. And we have over the years learned how to do it a lot more efficient, a lot faster, a lot cheaper. And so our average time is about 24 days from start to finish, getting your project in. Um, we're pretty much averaging somewhere around $7,000 per port on the commercial side, and around 1,750 dollars per port on the residential side. That includes the charger. Charger somewhere around 500 and 750 bucks, depending on what charger you use. So those are kind of average price per port pricing that you can throw into that model. So if it takes us, let's say average cost $7,000 per port on a site of 10 chargers. Okay, well, it takes me $70,000 and I'll be done within a month. Great, awesome. That's how fast we're able to move. With the Tesla destination charge program, the way that they layered the supercharger, kind of procedural base on top of that, what we essentially got was, hey, these projects have taken 9 to almost 14 months to actually get done. They were costing upwards of around, let's say, $8,000 per port. And over the actual last 15 months that we were working closely with Tesla on these things and the Tesla supercharging teams, we noticed that we originally would go onto a site and they would say, we want 24 stations here. And we're like, okay, yeah, no, that's great. 24 stations. We could probably do these around $4,000 per port. So we can cut that average, $7,000 per port, in half. And then a few months in, after we've done the permit and the engineering plans and the site designs, and right before we're able to move forward with construction, Tesla comes back to us and says, hey, this was about in August 2023. Hey, we want to go from 24 on those sites down to 12. And we're like, oh, all right, well, we're gonna have to get back to you. So we took 200 sites or so, re-estimated them for instead of 24 charging stations. Now we have to estimate for 12. Now as I do, like when it comes to price per port, well, that just jacked up your price per port for the project. Now your project, instead of, let's say, you know I'm just going to use a round number here, I guess. Let's say we were doing uh, 10 charging stations at $8,000 per port. Okay. And that's an $80,000 charging site. Well, in this case, we went from 24. Let's say we're doing 24 stations. Let's double that. So let's say 24 stations is $150,000 for that site. Okay. Uh, at 24, then that's gonna be, let's say it's $120,000 for that 24 station site. So that got us to about $5,000 per port, and that's great. Well, when we go from 24 station site to 12 station site, that estimate's probably only gonna move a little bit. Now that estimate's probably gonna go from, let's say, 120 to, let's say, 100,000. Well, if we're putting in, again, 12 charging stations for $100,000, that's somewhere. I can't do the math right now, but the price per port, it just starts to climb up, climb up, climb up. So this was in August of 2023. So we had to scramble. Okay, let's reestimate all 200 of these and get them to Tesla, because we want to hurry up and start moving forward with these projects, because we've already done the site plans and the engineering and the permit. Then Tesla comes back to us around, oof, November of 2023, and says, you know what, we are moving from 12 now to 6 to 4 of these units that are going into these sites. And now we have to refile, re-estimate all of these sites for now 4 to 6. Now, keep in mind, we've already spent, the better part of 7 to 8 months on these projects. The amount of money that we're having to fork out just to kind of get this process initiated across 200 projects, it's a lot of money. And so we're just like, we're scratching our heads. We're like, what's going on with Tesla? I don't know. They were going from 24 per site to 12, now down to 6. And the price per port just doesn't even make sense anymore, because now I'm at 6 charging stations and it's costing me $60,000. I'm at $10,000 per port right here just to be able to put these things in the ground, and it's taken me longer than 9 months. Like, what is going on? So we continue to kind of roll with the punches, and keep going with Tesla on this, but we felt that there was something there. There was something there. There was an article a while back where Tesla actually pushed in the fact that they sold their superchargers to, I think, NG. Like, it was first BP, and then it was some sort of news with NG. These are gas station, you know, service based companies out in Europe, and I think the other one was like Iceland or the Netherlands or something like that. And so we were like, "Oh, whoa, 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 that's an interesting play there." And then we saw some news, and we have episodes on these announcements. We saw some news with Hilton and the Marriott confirming, "Hey, we want to commit to, two 20,000 wall connectors, being placed at all of our hotels." And we're like, "Okay, okay." So they're selling their stations, and to the point where they're going to continue to manufacture them, and then the software stack and the network that they have on the back end to be able to support that is none other. It's superior. It's a really good network. It's a really good software database for that vertically integrated stack to be complementary to, you know uh, I guess, a business owner that's just looking to put charging stations on their site. They just make that process a lot easier, and it's really easy for the installers because it's a great product, and we're only dealing with one company when it comes to activating and, commissioning those chargers. And so what we saw was this movement. And when we saw Tesla start to focus a little bit more on autonomy with Tesla FSD, 12.0, and all the different versions and everything that was happening with, AI, and you have Nvidia and the chips and Dojo, we started seeing Tesla get really, and this was all happening at the same time in the back end. It was all happening. And so we started seeing the fact that you have these, I guess, the signals. You want to look at the signals instead of the noise. We started seeing, like, you know what? There's a weight that Tesla has been holding over the past 12 years and creating this supercharger network. It was a massive upbringing. And the reason why they had to do it, because no one else there was able to do it for them. So they had no choice but to get in and do it themselves. And I think now when you see the NEVI funds coming in, the $7.5 billion with Infrastructure Act and all that stuff coming in, filtering through the states, and the states putting their plan together to be able to push these charging stations out and have the private market segment, have the gas stations, have, whoever, jump in here and actually get these things done. And then those funds are paying back 80% of the cost, to put these charging stations in. It's it's a pretty unique move. And so, in our opinion, we believe Tesla saw that and said, you know what? We're going to focus on manufacturing the best quality product out there. We have the software to be fully integrated with our hardware, component that we're going to continue to manufacture at scale. And we're just going to sell to the, the Buckies and the Flying J's and the travel lodges and all these fueling stations. We're going to sell our stuff to the private sector, and we're gonna, this is made in America, by America, standards and all of that good stuff. And so we're going to do that, and we're going to focus on what we do best now. So I think Tesla, this move, one move today, which we saw hit the news waves. I mean, literally 9 a.m. came. It was actually, it started around 7 o'clock with us when we came in. We started emailing all of our guys just like we do normally. We work with about 20 to 25 folks over there at the Tesla supercharging team and their home charging team. And we started emailing, and we started getting bounce backs. Started getting bounce backs left and right. And it was funny because this is the first time in my entire career where I saw a bounce back state, "Hey, we've copied this person to your bounce back because this person is no longer with us." And then that person bounced back to this person. And then this person bounced back to another person. So in one bounce back message, you'll have four different bounce backs. And like that's how much of an axe this thing it just came down with. So yeah, so I married an axe murderer. I don't know, probably, but what we saw was, I mean, this is what you do when you have to remove an entire arm of your company. And so I thought it was interesting because Elon in his earnings call talked about, a baby when he's growing, he can't have the same amount of cells, and he's got to grow and he's got to grow and he's got to grow. I was like, yeah, but man, you don't make the baby you know, quadriplegic or, just cut off the baby's arm. It's like, whoa, but I get it. I understand. Guys, look, Tesla, Elon, look, I love you. I understand. What we do is extremely difficult. It is hard work. Okay. We are physically bringing a product, delivering it to you, tradesmen, certified, insured, licensed, bonded, all of that good stuff. We are literally putting it in the ground for you. We are moving earth to be able to put these things in the ground and activate. It is hard work. We're not pushing software. We're not algorithms. We're not, running the latest, greatest AI systems here. This is hard work. And I think Elon saw, man, the rest of the industry is jumping on board, and we have the funds down to where we can let the private sector start moving these things on the open floor. We just may want to just look at, we did what we did because nobody else was there to do it for us. Okay. And now Tesla feels confident and comfortable with their rankings so far to be able to be like, you know what, we're just gonna tie in, we're gonna wrap all of our supercharger stuff up, we're gonna wrap all of our, Tesla owned and operated destination chargers, we're gonna wrap it all up, we're gonna close it all out, and we're gonna let the private market take care of this on the charging station side. On the EV side, we're going to focus on all things EVs. We're going to focus on robotaxi network. We're going to focus on providing charger for our fleet, so forth and so on. So, I think what you saw with the chop, with the axe coming down on the supercharger team, I think what you saw there was basically Tesla saying, you know what, it's time. We have to go ahead and chop this limb off because the only reason we got into the service-based, construction-based, industry was because we had to, because no one else was doing it at the time. I think, like I said, Tesla sees with the NEPI funds coming in and the rest of the private industry, kind of getting in this thing and trying to make money on their end. They feel that maybe, you know what, we need to get out of the service-based, the construction-based industry. We need to focus on manufacturing and software, manufacturing and automation, manufacturing and AI. Like they need to focus on those. And I think with this one move, that's what it's signaling. It's signaling that that's what they're going to focus on. It's a shame. We have an amazing group of people, some of the most brilliant minds I've ever worked with in my entire life that have worked with Tesla, and we've worked alongside them over the past 12 years. Literally, they've helped raise Smart Charge America from the ground up, and just seeing these guys just you know we have all their cell phones. We're in touch with them right now. We're trying to get communication with them to just see how they're doing and just kind of be there for them. Hey, if you need anything, man, reach out to Smart Charge America. We'll do our best to take care of you. But it was a real shock for us. But just to see, like in one day, how things can change, and just how everything has come to fruition. I mean, it's actually it's quite shocking. It shocked the team this morning. Of course, we were all amazed the amount of, I wouldn't say turmoil, but just how sudden the move is. But from our position, remember we talked about how we were originally setting these sites up with Tesla for 24 stations, and then 12, and then 6, and then sometimes it went from 12 to 4. When you see that, and then you see the complex layering that they were doing, and the amount of time that they were expending, and the cost that they were expending per port, it's only a matter of time before somebody comes in and says, "Hey guys, what we're doing here isn't working. We should be over here doing this stuff." And I think that when it came down to, I believe I saw an email or something today with regards to, like, hey, if you're not important, transparent, or integral to the process, like, I gladly, accept your resignation. I was like, oof, that's some strong words, trustworthy and necessary, and uh, yeah, I forget the other word that he used, but overall, what we've seen is we've seen these programs from Gen 1 Tesla Destination Charge program release and termination, to Gen 2 release and termination, to Gen 3 release and termination, and now this Tesla owned and operated uh, Gen 3 monetization. I'm going to own the whole site and monetize this and charge customers for it. Now that's terminated, and so Smart Charge America will always expand and contract accordingly. But we started seeing the signals slowly but surely over the months. But we were astonished and very, very much surprised on the action and the speed at which this happened. So yeah, look, Rebecca Tanucci was who we answered to for most of our stuff. So it was really heartbreaking to see her go. And I know anywhere she goes, she's going to be an amazing contributor to that company. A lot of the charging station guys that we worked with, Tucci and Colin Flynn, TJ Conley. I mean, these guys are notorious. Like, they were well known throughout the industry, and so it's really heartbreaking to see that we're going to lose some really good talent. We're going to lose some really good guys, but we're going to keep pushing forward. We're going to keep going. This gives Smart Charge America an opportunity to maybe possibly even reach out to those customers that we were dealing with, and just letting them know, kind of, hey, look, this is what's going on with Tesla. We haven't started construction on your project. We've gotten this far, but if you still want to move forward with doing this, we can absolutely move forward. But you, as a customer, you're going to have to pay Smart Charge America in order to get these things. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that the sustainability initiative for these businesses should not change as a result of this. It should not. If you were gun ho about putting charging stations in your property, and just because Tesla's making this move, that's a Tesla move. That doesn't necessarily mean that it affects you. You could still get these charging stations put in. And that's what we're doing, is we're playing triage, and we're reaching out to these clients, and we're letting them know, hey, look, we understand the news from Tesla, but for the most part, we see you, we love you, we're here for you, and we want to make sure that you're in good hands, and to know that your dreams of putting in charging stations, they're not going to go unanswered. We're going to put these things in together. But unfortunately, the payment is not going to come from Tesla anymore. It's actually going to come from that private customer. But the good thing is, we have the charging stations. We are the guys that put them in the ground. So, like, nothing's going to skip a beat with us. And in fact, you probably get a small little discount because of all the work that we've had to do on the back end, with Tesla, that Tesla's paid us for. Well, that makes your project a lot easier for us to just wrap up and ship on out. So these are all really, really good things. But yeah, we were definitely surprised this morning, and kind of coming down the pipeline and talking to our Tesla reps in the accounting department and everything else, just to make sure that us as contractors, that we're going to get paid for the work that we did do have in place. Now, Tesla did send an email shortly thereafter the announcement this morning, where they want, if we're continuing, if, like, we're in the middle of construction on one of these sites, they want us to push through. So they do want us to finish, and then they will take care of us on the billing side of it. On the pre-construction side of things, if we were in kind of the permitting and engineering design phase, but we didn't actually break ground and start construction, well, then we're no longer gonna do that project anymore. So that project's just considered closed out. Okay, great. We'll wrap things up. We'll make sure all of our final billings are through Tesla, and we're closing those projects. So we currently have, of those 200 projects, we finished about, I'd say, good 120, maybe. From there, you had a good 60. We had a couple that were pulled and sent to California. Those were mainly in California, and those were pulled, 2 weeks ago, and they're gone. So we have our pool of sites that we're basically still in process with, we're in construction with, and we're gonna finish those out, and we're gonna tie them all up. We're gonna button them all up, make sure everything is nice, secure, and we're just gonna send our final bill to Tesla and go from there. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here as a charging station industry. I'm gonna do my best to keep you guys posted. I'm gonna try my best to also get on YouTube a lot more often and talk to you guys just to let you all know kind of what's going on out in the marketplace. But that's what we know for now. Our Tesla supercharger team has been obliterated. Now, there were two parts of the supercharger team. There was the Southwest team and there was the HQ team, which is the headquarters team. About 2 weeks ago, when they had the first round of layoffs, the Southwest team was absorbed, and the HQ team came in and took over all of those projects. And that was a real, our that Southwest team, that Southwest Supercharger team, man, that those guys, they were a real blast to work with. I will tell you, they were some of the funnest and most respectful and down to earth, but also like they know their stuff. Business people that we've ever had a chance to be honored to work with. HQ team were a little bit more hardcore. They were dealing with massive volume under their portfolio, and so they didn't really. They were literally all about business. But what we felt at some point in time was that HQ team, there's a certain decor that you have to go about. Like, okay, we want to put these charging stations, and we're doing everything that you've asked us on our estimate, on our pricing book, on everything that we have on the plans. We did everything to spec, everything national code, everything the guidelines, everything we did. But then you'll have one of those, one of their guys that go out and they will start just bird dogging and just looking at different things. And, hey, you got to put grass seed here after you trenched and you backfilled. We want to see grass seed there because we want to make sure that that grows. Like, yeah, of course it's going to grow. It's grass. It's just a small trench. It's a 4-inch trench line we just ran. There's grass on both sides. It's eventually going to go in. We patted it and leveled it now. I want to see grass seeds. Are you using this? You're not using that. And so it was like a lot of things that we felt that, hey guys, like this really isn't helping advance our cause. This really isn't helping us install more charging stations faster, cheaper. It's not. If anything, you're going against that movement and you're not helping advance the mission here. I get it. You want to make sure that we've gone above and beyond, but you didn't put that in your specs. You didn't put that in your engineering plans. So if our engineering plans calls for a site to be A plus, and you are going in with an A plus plus mindset, we're never going to meet that. No matter what we do or say, we're never going to, because we installed it at an A plus level. That's what you pay for. That's what we have. That's what we agreed upon. And so when we started seeing that HQ team push back a lot of things, we were just like, whoa, guys, this is really hard conversation to have. But again, how is this advancing the advent of sustainable transportation? For us, that's our mission. How can we install more of these faster? And it felt like everything that we were doing with that part of the team wasn't really moving as fast as we wanted it to. And so, you know, I think if you had a higher up executive like an Elon come in and actually really see what was going on in that sector, I would be pissed. I would be absolutely pissed. Excuse my language, but I'd be in the same boat. I mean, I would sit there and be like, wait up. So it takes us $30,000 average per port to put in a supercharger site, which we can actually get done, definitively, let's say in 3 months' time, and we're getting faster with the prefabricated units, right? The PFUs. You're telling me that you guys have been working on destination charge level 2 charging stations, and it's been taking 14 months, and you guys, price per port are, somewhere upwards of $10,000? Like, what's going on here? And I think it's just the layer of sophistication that they put on top of us. There are 2 different specs of a charging site when you guys are visiting public charging stations. A level 2 site should be nice, easy, well ran, well designed, well thought out, well laid out, and put in place. And it should be a fraction, an order of magnitude difference in cost than that of a DC fast charging site where you're having to do massive amount of electrical, civil work, so forth and so on. So there are two totally different things. They should not be, I guess, layered with the same amount of sophistication and I would say, I wouldn't say bureaucracy, but just the fundamental procedures that go into that should not be as vast and as much as it would be for that of a DC fast charger or slash supercharger site. So, yeah, look, we were really surprised to see the charging team just completely axed again. I know I've said it before, but yeah, it wasn't. It was a bit of a surprise. We thought it was going to be an eventual kind of slow phase out like they've done the previous programs, but we do see it. We understand why they did it. Like we see Tesla's play on this. It's a smart play. Let the rest of the industry, lift the heavy burden of putting in that charging infrastructure now that, you've given the API access to Ford and the Rivian. Let those guys fund the private sector in putting those charging stations in. Let the fueling sessions or the fueling station, owners, let them get into the game, And so whoever gets into it, we just want you to know that Smart Charge America is alive and well. We're breathing, we're doing great. And we've been dealing with, Tesla for the better part of the past 12 years. And we're going to continue to do business with Tesla and continue to support them in any way possible when it comes to the advancement of advanced charging systems across the US. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if I'm in a mood to take any type of audience questions or anything like that. I just wanted to thank you guys so much to our listeners and subscribers for our time, for your time. And today, look, I hope this episode's brought to you a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more value to your day, considering the news. Uh, you know, I, we're kind of all better for it. But I know there's a lot of hurt people out there in the charging community that we know that are brothers of ours and sisters of ours, and we're gonna miss them. But if you're listening to this video, man, you call Smart Charge America, and we'll have a home for you. I can tell you that. I love you guys, and yes, we can't do this episode without you. So again, we appreciate you joining us again. On the back end of things, we've been busy. I haven't been able to produce a video over the past few weeks, just because of the stuff that we've been experiencing with Tesla, and then of course the final acts. And I was like, you know what, I gotta talk to my guys. I love you guys. I love you guys so much, man. It's therapy for me to actually get in front and talk to you guys and discuss more of the internals of kind of what's going on in the charging space. So again, I do hope to bring you guys a lot more current news as it's happening. Do a little more research, put a little bit more time, energy, effort, and resources into our channel here, just so that way you guys can actually fully understand exactly what's going on the ground. But look, thanks again for charging up with us today. Keep us in mind, you can always find us at smartchargeamerica.com. And remember, folks, if you can't charge, you can't drive. We'll see you next time. Cheers.